Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Oxhorn, and today I've got a really exciting video for you. Here are my favorite retexture mods for Fallout 4. These mods don't really change anything in the game. They certainly don't change any gameplay. They just retexture existing assets to look a whole lot better. These are going to be immersive and quality of life mods that just make you enjoy the game so much more. For this list, I wanted to pick mods that absolutely had to be lore friendly. They didn't have modern brands or fake brands or new brands. They only referred to existing brands, if any at all. They had to look weathered and beat up and like they were part of this world. And I wanted to only choose certain retextures for things that you see very frequently in the game. There are a lot of mods out there that retexture very specific things, like magazine racks or Nuka-Cola machines, and those are all fine and dandy, but I wanted to make sure that the retextures that I included in this video retexture things that you use on a daily basis when you play the game. Additionally, you don't need to fear too much about game impact with the mods that I include in this video. All of them include a high-end texture and a lower-end texture, depending on your game needs. And finally, many of these are available on the Xbox One as well, so these are not just PC-only mods. I'll link to them all in the description of this video, so please twirl it down and click on those links to download the mod of your choice. First up is Better Ammo Boxes by Devious Methods. This is far and away my favorite ammo retexture in the entire game. And that's saying something because there are a lot of really good ones. I love this one because he not only kept with the original brand names of the ammunition, but each box is handcrafted from scratch. It's not just a higher resolution version of the existing box, it's a new box with a new label that has then been weathered to look like it's been sitting on a shelf for 200 years. The 4K version of this texture is absolutely breathtaking. This is my favorite texture mod, and probably the reason I decided to make this video to begin with, because you're constantly looting ammunition. It's one of the things you see in every dungeon, every park, every corner of the Commonwealth, and it'll make your game just a whole lot of fun. Thank you for the wonderful texture, Devious Methods. Next up is Retextured Chems by EFLA442. This is my favorite retexture for all of the different chems in the game. If you've taken a close look at the chems in the game, you realize that they actually have pretty horrible textures. They're blocky, they're bland. This mod gives them a highly detailed brand new texture that make them look more like real items in the world. And one of the reasons that I like this particular texture so much is because he wanted to keep within the same look and feel of the original labels and textures and colors. He simply amped them up, made them easier to see from a distance, and improved the readability for all of the labels in the game. Now, when there were chems that didn't have very good labels, or he made new ones. The Radex, for example, looks completely different, and it looks like a real jar of pills that you would get from your local pharmacy. The stim pack is amazing. It looks like a real syringe, like a real device that you would pick up at a shop. And Jet looks like a real inhaler. He has an alternative version of this mod that re-envisions these chems as if they had been manufactured today. So they have more modern labels that look like vitamins and supplements. But I prefer version 1, which is the one I'm linking to in the description of this video, because the labels still look like they were made in the 40s and 50s. A great companion mod to this one is EFLA442's Retextured First Aid Kits. Instead of just that boring white box stuck to the wall of your local dungeon, EFLA's retextured first aid kits come in a variety of different colors. Blue and white, solid white, green and white, dirty white, and covered in paint. They're a low-impact retexture that's absolutely beautiful and a great little addition to this list. Thank you very much, EFLA. Next up is Holotapes Overhaul PipBoy by GORGULLA. I've been using this one for a long time to retexture my PipBoy, and I get a lot of comments and questions from people saying, hey, what texture mod do you use for your PipBoy? Well, this is it. This retextures the PipBoy, which you look at every single day, with brand new normal and specular maps and a beautiful diffuse map. It makes the PipBoy look weathered, rusty, and old. You have to remember, it was sitting in a dank, musty old vault for 200 years before you found it, right? It's not going to be pristine. This is an extremely high-resolution texture mod, up to 5 times the resolution of the PipBoy as you find it in the game. All of the knobs and dials have been redone for added clarity. You can actually read what the numbers say and what the text says on the dials. It works well in every lighting situation too. The rough texture on the surface of the metal actually changes based on the lighting in your game. That's thanks to the excellent normal maps that come with it. This mod comes with a variety of options upon installation, including a scratched up screen, a broken screen, and even a new map. It is an essential texture replacer in my opinion for this kind of video. Thank you, GORGULLA. Next up is CC's improved vanilla holotapes by CLEARANCECLARENCE. There are a lot of holotape retextures on the Nexus, but not all of them keep within the same look and feel of the vanilla game. I've found some that are red and black, which end up being hard to find in the game. Some of them are bright pink with little Hello Kitties on them. This one is none of those things. It has the exact same colors as the original holotapes, a nice cream background with a more mustard orange on top, only the texture resolution has been amped up to give it so much more detail. It now looks like worn plastic, like it's been handled a lot or put in and out of a holotape player over the span of many different years, as it should be. Considering that you come across at least one holotape in every dungeon that you visit, it was a good one to add to this list. It makes holotapes that much more realistic. Thank you, Clarence. Next up is Pre-War Books Retexture by Emissary of Wind. This is another one that I get a lot of questions about because I've been using it for a long time. The books on bookshelves in the game are boring. They're a solid gray and red color with no text on the spine. That doesn't make any sense. It's completely unrealistic. This mod retextures all of the books in the game, except for the burnt and ruined books, to have real-world and lore-friendly book covers with actual text on the spine. Each of these books comes from a real book that would have existed in the 40s and 50s before the divergence from our real world, which makes them all lore-friendly. It's a beautiful retexture. It's not stretched in any way. The books look like they're really there. And since it's a replacer, it's going to work for all of the books in your game and any books that come with any mods that you install, which means it works great with mods like Do-It-Yourself or Filled Bookshelf mods. It's going to make pre-war bunkers and dilapidated homes that you find in this wasteland just that much more interesting. Thank you, Emissary of Wind. Next up is Fallout 4 HD Reworked Project by HALK HOGAN PL. This mod retextures objects and doodads in the game. It includes retextures of tires, coffee cups, aluminum cans, metal barrels, mute fruit, cork, Radex, barriers, traffic cones, a variety of little things. The mod author says that this shouldn't affect performance all that much, since many of the objects are small and don't require very large textures. This handy little mod will make your Commonwealth feel a little bit more real. Thanks, HALK HOGAN. Next up is Optimized Vanilla Textures by MYSTICALFLARE. Many of you probably already have this mod installed. It's one of the first mods that Fallout 4 players who are into mods usually installs. This mod reduces the file size of most of the textures in the game without reducing quality. The goal of this mod, according to MYSTICALFLARE, was to try and nail down and reduce the stuttering and the FPS drops that you get in the game, especially when playing in the city. When he opened up the textures that came with Fallout 4, he discovered that a lot of them had a few tweaks that still needed to be made to them so that they were optimized. He went through all of the major textures in the game, from rocks to plant life to steel to billboards, and made them much more friendly to your machine without reducing quality. This is a great utilitarian mod to install if you want to bump up your FPS just a little bit. Thank you, MYSTICALFLARE. Another one that I use hand in hand with that one is Vivid Fallout Roads and Bridges by Hein84. This is just a personal taste of mine. I really like what MYSTICALFLARE did with his optimized vanilla textures, but I also really like the Vivid Roads and Bridges with Hein84. I installed this mod when I was working on my Grey Garden settlement build, and I was spending a lot of time on that overpass, and so I was looking at all of the rust on the overpass thinking, this could be a lot better. That's when I discovered the Vivid Fallout one, and it's a great one for those of you who spend a lot of time looking at roads, which you tend to do, especially if you're on survival mode and you don't fast travel around everywhere. You spend a lot of time on the roads. This mod is going to make your roads and bridges look a whole lot better, and it also does not significantly affect your frame rate. It has 4K options for those of you with beefy machines and 2K options for those of you who are more interested in performance. Thank you, Hein84. Next up is Eyewear and Mask Retexture by CASTELL. Almost all of the enemies and NPCs you come across in the game at some point use some sort of eyewear. Raiders are constantly wearing goggles, gunners wear patrolman glasses, but all of the enemies wear the same 9 to 10 different pieces of eyewear that are in the game. This mod retextures them to make them look a little bit more realistic. The reflections on the lenses work more like they would in real life. The gas masks have much more depth in character. And the goggle lenses are a little dusty and misty, like they would be if used every day. This mod goes well with shorter gas masks by CRIMSONRIDER. This isn't a texture mod. What it does is it makes the snout of the gas masks a lot shorter. It just makes them look better in my opinion, and will make using them in the game a little bit more attractive for certain costumes. These last two mods go well together. Thank you, CASTELL, for the eyewear texture, and CRIMSONRIDER for the gas mask models. Next up is Fallout Texture Overhaul Power Armors by GORGULLA. This is another one of those mods that you've probably already had installed for a very long time. This mod makes power armor texture look 10 times better. And I love how much this mod respects the look and feel of the game. It doesn't just make all of the power armor look like it's been made from chrome and buffed with a polishing agent. No, these retextures keep all of the power armor paint jobs looking rusty, scratched up, peeling, as if they've been sitting around in a world for 200 years, which is exactly what I want to see. It increases the detail level of the paint jobs that came with Fallout 4. The Atom Cats, all of the hot rod paint jobs, the default rusty way that they appear in the game when you first find them on the back of a truck, all of them are retextured to look beautiful. This mod will give you up to 8 times the resolution of normal power armors in the game, depending on the version of the mod that you install. It has a really high resolution version for beefy computers, and also a lower resolution version for those of you who want better looking textures, but still prefer performance. It has subtle ambient occlusion, handmade normal maps that give each of the textures depth. It's an essential mod for any of you who spend a long time in your suit of power armor. Thank you, GORGULLA. Next up is The Eyes of Beauty by LOGRAAM. This is my favorite eye retexture mod. There are a lot of eye retexture mods on the Nexus, but this one I believe is the most realistic. This is an eye replacer texture, which means you just install it and you don't have to make any changes to your character, it automatically replaces them. One of the things I like best about them is that the eye has the reflection of your character's eyelashes in it, which of course your eye would. He also tried to keep the new eyes close to the vanilla versions, while still keeping true to the description. For example, in the vanilla game, the dark gray eye texture looked kind of olive green, and the green eye texture didn't look very different from the dark gray eye texture. His retexture for the green eye texture looks like a beautiful green eye, and his eye texture for the gray eye, it actually looks gray. The aqua eye actually has an aqua ring around it. It's just an exceptionally well done mod. It works not just on your player character, but on all NPCs in the game, making it a great quality of life improvement for your game. Thank you, LOGRAAM. Next up is a simple one by Emissary of Wind called Lashes. It simply improves female eyelashes. It adds a great effect with absolutely no performance hit to your game. Simply download it, press one button, install it, and you're good to go. Thank you for the nice and lightweight mod, Emissary of Wind. Next up is Human Commons Realistic Teeth by XAZONNER. This is my favorite teeth and mouth retexture. I don't know if you've noticed, but the teeth and mouths that come in the game don't look like teeth and mouths. They're really horrible, honestly. They look like they come from an old 90s Wolfenstein game or something. They're just really, really badly done. This mod just makes the teeth look more realistic and just makes them look like teeth, as they should, because they're teeth. These teeth are photorealistic, made from real photo resources, and it comes with both a brushed clean version of the teeth or a dirty version, depending on how you want to play the game. Thank you very much, XAZONNER. And last on the list today is WX Face Paints and Dirt by WinZombie. I always hated the face paints in the game because I felt that they just completely overpowered the face. When you take a look at the face paints in the character creation menu, it's like you put all of this time and attention into the bone structure and color shade, and then you just slap on some face paint and it just overpowers everything so that all of the changes you made are worthless. What this mod does is it makes the face paint look like part of the face more instead of just being slathered on top of the face. In short, you can see more of the character of the face that you've created at the same time that you can enjoy the face paint. Now, I don't typically use face paints on my characters, but raiders have face paints all the time, and so I have this mod installed because it makes raiders look much more interesting. This mod retains the detail of your character's face and improves the quality of the face paints without them just looking like smudges of color. It comes in a couple of different versions, his normal version, a dirtier version, or a less cracked looking version, depending on the style that you want. I prefer to go with the less cracked version. Thank you for the great texture mod, WinZombie. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is my roundup of some of my favorite texture mods that improve your everyday gaming experience in Fallout 4. What did you think of my list? Do you know of any that you think I should have included? If so, leave a comment and be sure to include a link so that my viewers have more mods to choose from. I really appreciate your input. As I said at the beginning, many of these mods are available on the Xbox, so be sure to check out the description of the video where I have links to both the PC and the Xbox versions of the mod where applicable. I do a wide range of video topics from lore to modding to just regular gameplay mechanics, so please subscribe if you like this video. I release a new video every single day. And if you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers gain access to my private Discord server as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad that you're here watching. Thanks for watching this short video, and I'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early with a brand new video.